Hello, my loves. How are you? How you doing? Oh my goodness. Welcome back to my yapping session. How are you? How you been? I wanted to record an episode today discussing and talking about my experience at Old Mother Shiptons, which was a really, really cool place that I got to visit recently. But before I dive into this episode, I just wanted to mention that I am currently recording this in my living room with the air conditioning unit on because it is like 34 degrees in the UK right now, and this is the only room in the house that is cool enough to be in. So hopefully the audio is okay and you can hear me all right, but let's just dive in. So my trip to Old Mother Shiptons. So if you don't know, Old Mother Shipton's Cave is a place in Yorkshire in the UK, and it is said to be one of the places where it was home to one of the oldest prophetesses and the most famous prophetess. I should get my facts right here. The most famous prophetess in England. And it's said that Old Mother Shipton predicted things like the Great Fire of London and like other major events that have happened. So it was pretty cool going in there because I was already very excited, it being very witchy and whimsical, and it was in a woods as well, which the woods are like one of my favorite places to be. So anyway, we rock up and I'm immediately like, oh, we've arrived at Disneyland. Like, we have arrived at Disneyland. This place is amazing. And it's me and my mum, and we're walking through, and they have a Wizard of Oz set up while we're there. So they've got all these lovely like huts that are made up for different sets from the film, and it's got like elements of Wicked woven through it as well. So it's like Wizard of Oz and Wicked, which obviously, if you know the story, they're one and the same thing basically. So that was really, really fun to start off by walking through there. And there was one of the rooms was this cabin, right? And I stuck my head in it, and it was like the Green Witch's kitchen. And I literally turned to my mum and I was like, this is my dream kitchen. I was like, I want to be in here. This is my dream kitchen. And it had like leaves like hanging from the rafters, and like dried things, like dried herbs and flowers hanging, and it was like there was a spell book and there was crystals, and I was like, this is literally my dream kitchen. Like, if I could just airlift this hut and plonk it in my garden, that would be great. So that was really, really fun. And we got to like see these, I can't remember what they're called, like shimmering logs or something, where you basically hammer coins into the trees, and they're like fallen logs, and it's said to be good luck. And all of these logs were like glistening, and it just looked so beautiful. So as we're like bimbling through, we're like getting deeper and deeper into this forest, and it was just the most peaceful forest I have ever been in, especially given like that it's like a commercial like tourist attraction. And my mum and I could just like, we were just sauntering through, and we could hear the bird song. And she's so cute, she has an app on her phone that like tells you what bird song we're hearing. So she's capturing the bird song, and we're listening out for different bird song, which was so nice. And as we're walking through, I'm just getting all of these like downloads from the forest that this feels like home. This feels like where I like want to build a house one day in a forest. There was a huge big river as well, like running along the bottom, which was so nice. So we're getting deeper and deeper into this walk, and we're slowly approaching the cave and the petrifying well. Now, the petrifying well is really cool. It's got loads of minerals in it. So basically anything that comes into contact with this water for an extended period of time will start to solidify because of all the minerals going around it. So at Old Mother Shiptons, they hang things like witches and teddy bears. And years and years and years ago, there was a couple who brought a top hat and something else, and they hung it from the well, and it has now been petrified into the well. And if you look at it from the side, this well has almost like a face. I think they're saying it's like a wizard, but again, I'm doing this all from memory because it was a while ago since I went, but I do remember it having the face of someone. But that was a really, really long time ago when that face was so prominent, and now it's even being covered even more. But as we descended into where the well is, it was just this overwhelming sense of peace. It was just so relaxed. I could have literally pulled up a chair and sat there all day. And we just stood and just basked in it, watching this water falling. And it was just so relaxing, just feeling so held, and just how effortless the relaxation and the energy of just being relaxed felt, and just how the water just trickles off. It's just doing what it does in the ease and flow of how it operates. And I'm just now like tapping back into that energy and just how chill that was. And you've got the river running behind us as well, and that's just doing its own thing, just flowing along. And it was just like time stood still when we were there, and I just wanted to sit, pull up a chair, get on the floor and meditate. And it was just such a beautiful, peaceful moment. And as I'm feeling more into this energy now, I'm like, this is how we get to move through life, just like the effortless movement of the water that will just find a way to get to the source of where it needs to go, get to the river, get to the well. And it just does it. And it does it with such ease. And that's us. We get to do that too. And as we decided to move on from the front of the well, there's actually a bit round the back that you get to step into that again is getting smaller and smaller and smaller as time goes on, it feels like. But you get to step into this well, and what you get to do is take your right hand and you make a wish. And the only rules is that you're not allowed to wish for money, and you're not allowed to wish for any harm on anyone else. And you're also not allowed to tell anyone what you wished for until it comes true. So I popped my hand in, and the water was so cold, but so still. It was literally like being held. It was just this like, full exhale. Popping my hand into the water and just taking a minute. And again, it was just this moment of taking a breath, taking a beat, and just being still. and just really feeling into that feeling of being held. And I started to cry at that point, and it was so nice because I knew I needed to cry while I was there. I wanted to have this release while I was there, and it finally came when I put my hand into the well. So after you do that, and after I'd done that, you take your hand out of the well and you have to let your hand dry naturally, which I was like, yeah, that's cool, I can do that, no worries. But what's really interesting, because of the high density of the minerals in the water, my hand took so long to dry. So long. It was wet for ages. And then once it had finally dried, it was so smooth. It genuinely felt like magic. And this is how I feel about nature in general. I literally love nature. The more I play in nature, the more I look at nature, the more I stop and observe it, the more magic I realize it is. And as I say this, I'm just like, I just want to go and play in the grass. But nature is naturing at the moment in the heat. And whilst the heat is beautiful and the sun is gorgeous, it's definitely calling for some stillness as well, which again I think is really beautiful in this moment of reclaiming and remembering that as human beings and as beings of nature, as forces of nature, we get to be in this flow state. That is how we get to operate. And even in just the sun being out, there's no rush. The sun will come out again. And we just get to go with the flow. Rest and relax. Super chill. So once we'd stepped out of the well, we then stepped into the cave. And the cave was really interesting because they had built this almost stone, I think it was stone, statue of Old Mother Shipton. And what I thought was really interesting, and what I was feeling into, was how she'd been depicted as this quote unquote very textbook looking witch. And whether or not she was a real person or not, I'm not 100% sure. I thought it was really interesting how she'd been depicted as this almost not very pleasant to look at, old, hunched over person. And but yet she was so powerful. She had so much, she was a seer, she was a medium, she could predicted so much that happened. And just feeling into the energy of that story and how that story has now been presented in such a way that, she was a bit different to look at. And, if they depicted her in such a way that made her seem scary, but it's there's nothing to fear from a powerful woman. And I did think that was really interesting, how this was the story and the narrative that was being played out. And again, I was sort of tapping into this message and this energy of this is how, as women now, or just leaders from heart and soul led place, we get to come from this place of rooted in our power, rooted in our divine feminine and our divine masculine, both energies are present, and that we get to change the story of these quote unquote scary witches who are just powerful women who are really tapped into their intuition, tapped into their magic, tapped into their power. And we get to change that. by being that representation now for all of us who are connected to realms that we can't necessarily perceive with our eyes, but it's a felt sense. It's an energy we feel in our bodies. It's a knowing before we've stepped into a room. It's a feeling that we get just from being in a space. It's the channeled messages when we're completely open, the downloads we get, the intuitive hits on something we should go and do and can't quite explain, but we just run with it anyway, you know? And it's all of this that feels so alive and came so alive for me when I was in this space and visiting Old Mother Shiptons. And I wanted to really share this message as a channeled message, a message that feels bigger than me, like it feels more vast than just my own vessel and my own self. But it's this reminder that when we come from a heart and soul led place, when we're channeling our gifts, using our gifts, really opening up to our genius that we have coded within us in all different forms and in all different ways that presents itself, that we are safe to do that and we are held to do that, and that there's no force and that there's no desperate need to prove ourselves to do it. We just get to do it. We just get to show what we're about. We get to show what we love. And that is the harmony, that is the frequency of harmony that we get to bring back into our own energetic being and bodies. And that harmony from within then just completely radiates out of us. And then it's felt by everyone else. That is the ripple effect. And that just really feels so alive in me to share from this place of, we get to do this from ease, we get to do this from flow, just like the well, just like the river. It flows, we get to flow. We get to be in balance, we get to be in harmony. And our energy and the balance of our energy like that really does just ripple out to everyone. It may start off small, it may start off just within your own household, within your own friendship circle. But you bring that energy into every single day, and that energy carries you. You start showing up differently. You start showing up online and people start magnetizing to you in your business. Or if you're looking for a partner, you start magnetizing those people to you. The opportunities for expansion, for growth that align with your energetic blueprint just start manifesting. They just start coming. And it's trusting every single part of you, that you know deep within what flows through you, what is aligned for you. And that your unique essence, your unique being is so perfect. That is you. It gets to be you. It gets to mold into whatever you envision it to be. I just felt so, had to come through there, that message. But I'd like to close out with saying that if you're ever in the UK and you're ever in the Yorkshire area, to go to Old Mother Shiptons, because it is absolutely wonderful. It's a beautiful place. It's in a really gorgeous part of the UK. And to just take a minute and just bask in the stillness that is there. and just feel into what wants to come through the body. Because, oh my gosh, was it so beautiful when I was there. And I'm so ready to go back. They also have an amazing gift shop. And, oh my gosh, I forgot to mention one of the best things. The whole forest is covered in wild garlic. So it smells like garlic when you're in the forest. Which is so lush. It's so good. So genuinely, I would take yourself there. They have grade 2 listed beech trees as well. So the trees are listed. They're protected. And they're so beautiful. They're really old. They're like 300-year-old trees. So they've seen some things and they carry a lot of wisdom. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. I wanted to thank you so much for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me. Hopefully the air conditioner wasn't too disruptive on the audio today. And I'll catch you on the next one, my loves. Have a wonderful day. I love you so much. Bye.